Next on the agenda, you heard Chris talk about Jim Dean. And for some of us who are new to the political arena, that name meant sausages. You know, James Dean sausages. You know, you see the commercial. But I quickly learned that there is a Jim Dean, and he's related to the Howard Dean that we're all familiar with, who ran for president and ran for the Democratic candidacy. And his brother, Jim, is from Connecticut, and he runs a new, successful, and important organization, Democracy for America. And we stand here today, a lot of us, as I look out here, are educators, are people who are involved in education, supporting education. And the cornerstone of the democracy that we live in is that all of our children have a free and equal opportunity to education. That's not the game plan for our adversaries. That's not where our folks that we're dealing with right now want us to be. They would like to close down the opportunity. They would like to create a caste system where those who can are educated and those who can't, well, oh well. So it's our great honor to have a person who has been all across this country, all across every demographic group that you can even imagine, and who has had the opportunity to speak to folks about the importance of education, the importance of women's health, the importance of all the issues that matter to us. And I'd like to welcome him up here to the stage, Mr. Jim Dean.
Thanks. Hey, folks. My name is Jim Dean. I'm the Chair of Democracy for America. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. I think first and foremost, I have to thank all of our members. We have actually about 1.1 million around the country, but a number and tens of thousands. I think it's about 25 or 30,000 here in New Jersey. Rosie, who's been such a great organizer and hails from Hunterdon County, as I know a few of you do, which is now going to be, I guess, the next movie set for Law and Order after I read the Times this morning. And but really, it's about all of the activism that all of us do, all that you do. And you know, I don't want to. I'm a little humbled by being in front of so many educators. I was a political science major in college. Every test question and every term paper started with the sentence, "I feel strongly both ways." So I'm here to tell you very happily that I don't feel strongly both ways and haven't for some time. And we are very, very grateful to be working on a number of elections here, and especially Marie, and we are very, very grateful to all the candidates, Kristen and others, who have stepped up to the plate. And, you know, I think it's worth mentioning a few things that have happened this year. This year, about 4 states passed very meaningful gun violence prevention legislation. This year, New York State came this close to passing public financing of elections, and they're going to go back and try to do it again next year. This year, as of I think last week, the state of Vermont is starting its own single-payer healthcare program thanks to the Affordable Care Act. This year, the state of California passed a disclose bill that means that if you want to spend $1 billion on a bunch of ads, your name goes on it. Not your organization's name, but your name goes on it. And if you gave to 20 other organizations that went up the line before another organization, that doesn't count either. So the point that I'm making is this, and we've had marriage equality. We've got actually a proposition going on in Washington, which would be the first state to require labeling of genetically modified foods. And I think we could say really in every state that so many people as you are fighting for real education for our kids and for the same opportunities that we all had growing up. And the point that I really wanted to make is I didn't mention the word Washington in any of this. They've got their own problems right now, but the real agents of change right now are definitely in the states. You may recall last year that President Obama came out in favor of marriage equality, and lots of pundits went and said, well, that's because Joe Biden kind of let the cat out of the bag the day before and meet the press. Well, that was sort of true. The fact of the matter is that the real reason that was announced is because 7 states had already passed it. And now we're about to have, or I think we already do have, pending one little court thing here in New Jersey, but we are now up to about 14 states. The point is this: this happens in states. If you want good health care, if you want to show the way to education, you're going to see this happen by the work that happens in states. Do not underestimate the importance of the election or pending election of Bill de Blasio for mayor of New York, who the other day, first of all, not only did he campaign in the Tale of Two Cities and outright say we're going to have early childhood education for everybody in the city, he then went up in front of a group of the, quote, movers and shakers in the business community in New York and told them to their face that we're going to raise taxes to do this because we have to invest in this economy and we have to invest in our people if you expect to be able to do business here and if we expect to have a vibrant economy and be one of the leading trade cities in the world. That's guts, that's determination, and we got to make sure we have people like that, we have their back when he gets elected, just as we need to make sure that we have all of our elected officials here and Marie's back when she gets elected. This is really important. This legislative race is really important. Again, as I've mentioned before, the action here is in the states. It is going to be what happens here that's going to matter. It's going to be what happens here that advances the progressive agenda around this country. And, you know, you might see some emails from DFA, and I want to apologize a little bit because once you're a friend of ours, you're a friend for life a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, sure, we play in national issues, and we're very, very concerned about this budget standoff and everything else. But it's the stuff that's going on, and especially in other places where it's really happening. You know, in November 5th, we're going to have a headline in the press that says the voters have outright rejected anti-women legislation, anti-voter legislation, and anti-education legislation in Virginia. And that is going to happen, and when it does, you're going to start seeing people say, well, that's really what the narrative is going to be next year, and that's what this issue is really about. You are seeing headlines all over the papers right now about the economic injustice and economic inequality in this country. That's because the fast food workers are walking out in places like Milwaukee and Chicago and New York City and in cities all over the country. That is going to be the narrative next year's elections as well. But that narrative is being created by all of us. It's not being created by folks in Washington. We love some of those progressive representatives, but we've got to get our folks here elected. So I am going to make two asks because I have to and because I so believe that this is the chance that we have to really make a difference. And the two asks are for you to please reach deeper and please contribute to these candidates that are running today. We are big fans of Marie, and we made a contribution to her. I hope you'll consider her campaign as well. It is very, very important. These are all very winnable races. If you look at the vote totals in this thing, these are all places where you can go out and get votes the most effective way that you do get votes, which is to talk to your family, friends, and neighbors. The second ask is actually just that. Please call 5 friends of yours in the districts that these folks are running in and ask them and urge them to vote for these candidates. That is critically, critically important. And while you're at it, if you've got a chance and you can, you've got to sign up and please do a phone bank or a canvas. Study after study, and if you ever go to one of our training programs, you're going to hear this 150 times, but it's true. The most effective way to persuade a voter is through personal contact. There is not even a question. So forget about the television stuff. I know it's important. Everybody, we'll leave that to the professionals, the direct mail, and everything else. If you want to make a difference in this race, call your family, friends, and neighbors and sign up for a phone bank. And please contribute to these folks because they need the money. They're not wasting it anywhere. These are not consultant-driven campaigns. These are people that are working very, very hard, and they're fighting for every single vote. And you're looking at vote totals here that can be gotten and achieved. You're looking at differences here. For example, in red districts in the state of Virginia, you're looking at differences of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 votes, which you can make up actually in 1 or 2 weekends. That's the kind of universe that we're operating in, and that's the difference between New Jersey saying no to Chris Christie and yes to education and yes to marriage equality and yes to the values of our values, or Chris Christie and other folks winning and running this the way Scott Walker is running Wisconsin. And I guarantee I've spent a lot of time there and nobody wants to be involved. But we can make this happen right here. And when it does, it's going to make a difference, a lot of difference to a whole lot of people who are living in a whole lot of other places outside of New Jersey and outside of these districts. So I urge you, pleased to help, and please get in touch with these campaigns and do what you can in this last 24 or 25 days? Okay, 24 days, folks, okay? I know you got a lot going on in your lives, but make it happen, because we're going to make a difference in a whole lot of places, and thank you so much.